Hello and welcome to the United Stand. Jose Mourinho solves Manchester United's midfield problems. Well, he did. He definitely did yesterday in that second half. No matter what anybody says, Mourinho sorted Conte out, sorted United out and sorted out a massive problem that's been a problem for the last few weeks and was in the first half yesterday. But you wouldn't believe that was the case because for the last week and a half, all we've heard from the agenda press is Mourinho, Pogba. Yesterday morning, Pogba's going to leave if Mourinho stays. Mourinho's finished. Pogba's a flop again. And then what happened yesterday? I mean, it's hardly been written about because we've got so many sort of positives to talk about. But the reality is, Mourinho did sort United out at half-time. Yes, we limped into half-time. Yes, we were slightly fortuitous. But then again, it was a good goal to get us back into it. Second half, he sorted all those issues out. And we'll be looking at the tactics and how he did that in a moment. But more importantly, I think, Pogba, a lot of United fans have said, well, Matic and McTominay were brilliant in the second half. They weren't in the first half. Lindelof played really, really well. He did. Lukaku was really well. Oh, and Pogba had a good game. It's like an afterthought when I really think that Pogba should be not a forefront thought, because people talk about people being put into people's pockets. I mentioned a lot of people there. But Hazard in McTominay's pocket. I like the joke. It's good. It's good fun. McTominay had a good game yesterday, but he wasn't in McTominay's pocket in the first half. He was in the second half, but he wasn't in the first half. Do you want to know who was in somebody's pocket for the entire game and we're not really talking about it? Kante was in Pogba's pocket. How many times did he run past him? How many times did he take the ball off him? And that was pretty much for most of the game. So it's not being mentioned. I don't know why. Maybe you can tell me. Why is it not being mentioned about Pogba's good performance yesterday and the way he dominated Kante, who is arguably one of the best midfielders holding in the country? He was brilliant yesterday, and he absolutely got the better of Kante. And we should applaud him for that. We definitely should. I'm going to introduce something new, and I hope you're all going to like it, because I've sort of been having a look at some of the tweets. So I want to bring some through some topical tweets into this tactical show we're going to do on a Monday at 1 o'clock from now on, as well as the tactics. But this was one from Aditya Ratud, who says, anyone better than Lukaku at crossing the ball at United? His crossing, just like his game, is very much underappreciated. That ball to Lingard was pinpoint. And it was. Lukaku has actually put a few crosses in the box this season from that right-hand side with the left foot. He's had a few assists now, and it's a part of his game that's not really appreciated. And you know what? Like the fan cam said yesterday, his second touch sometimes is a tackle. But we knew that when we signed him. You've got to remember some of the positives, and he's definitely improving in relation to that. I liked this one from the Anfield Wrap, just sort of picking it up on the Pogba thing. Bobby Firmino, no-look goals this season, 3. Paul Pogba goals this season. I love Liverpool fans. You've lost second place again, haven't you? You've had to sit down with your attacking crap football, and now you're telling Bobby Firmino's no-look goals. Right, I saw it at the weekend. I can score a no-look goal when I've got an open goal in front of me. It's dead easy, and it's not a no-look goal. He looks at the goal, then he looks away and passes it. He's had a look at the goal. If he wants to go from the halfway line, never look at the goal, running backwards and put it in, it's a no-look goal. But the brilliance of this is you're comparing a striker to a midfielder. Their obsession with Pogba is hilarious. And I'll tell you one thing as well. How many trophies has Firmino won with Liverpool? None. How many has Pogba won? 2. How many titles has Firmino won? None. How many titles has Pogba won? 4 at Juventus. Who's younger? Pogba. Sit down. Just sit down. They embarrass themselves. I liked this one about embarrassing as well. This was from a Chelsea fan who said, this was before the game. Paul McTominay, 21 years old, and his career will soon be ended by Eden Hazard. Oh, well, shit happens. Well, it didn't happen, did it? Hazard happened to jump into McTominay's pocket in the second half. I liked this one from the Manchester United way as well in relation to Lindelof. I was very impressed with Lindelof yesterday. Lindelof and Bailly is the future of the back. Love the look of Lindelof, does the dirty work and actually likes to pass forward. A partnership with Bailly could be brilliant. I agree with that. I thought we were almost shocked yesterday to see a centre-back passing out from the back at distance, and that's what we bought him for. And I do feel with Lindelof as well that he is a player that he stepped up to the plate in November when Jones and Bailly were injured, and we were good in November. He stepped up to the plate on Wednesday against Sevilla and yesterday against Chelsea because Jones and Rojo are out injured, and Bailly's only just coming back. That's twice this season he's come into the team, been very good when we've needed him to be. And I don't want to see him going into the wilderness when Jones and Rojo are back injured. I think we need to start building around this player. Mourinho spent £30 million on him. I think the fans believe in him now. Let's start getting him playing some football for United. And then finally, this just made me laugh. I've had enough of Mourinho. Say what you want, but he's shit at Manchester United. Mourinho out. Say what you like, he's been shit at Manchester United. Again, he's won trophies. I mean, I understand people who are a little bit Mourinho out, but come on, let's get a bit realistic about it. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. And I'm not saying that we're not going to have more dips. I can't wait for Liverpool in a couple of weeks. But it's not that bad. And I think you can get a bit of hyperbole. You can go too far the other way. Look, I understand people who are not happy with the way we're playing with Mourinho, but come on, we are progressing. We've got 6 more points than we did at this time last year. We've scored 20 more goals. The progress is there. The problem with Mourinho is this. It's the style of football that you see at Liverpool and Spurs and Man City. At Manchester United, Samuel R says Bay and Lindelof should be the partnership, by the way. And Lingard needs to start. Interesting, we'll come back to that from CR719. Justice always says, I can see why he bought Lindelof now. Antoine Muller actually asks a nice question for once. He says, Hi Mark, how are you doing? No one ever asks. I'm doing very well, how are you? Thanks for joining us this Monday lunchtime. Jared's got it wrong. We haven't got Sevilla. We've got Palace, then Liverpool, then Sevilla. We should ignore the press, says Tariq. Yes, we should. But what I wanted to say about our identity, we have got an identity at Manchester United. And our identity is this. We adapt our identity to the opposition. Now, that is sort of what we were talking about last week about I believe in Mourinho, but I think he's got to change because I think that's the thing. Manchester United, whatever the United way is or whatever, but what United fans want is for us to play our way, to impose our game on the opposition. Mourinho doesn't do that very often. He has done it, but he doesn't do it all the time, especially in the big games. He adapts his team to the opposition. That doesn't really fit in with United. However, as I said yesterday, Sir Alex Ferguson against the good Arsenal teams, he chucked Phil Neville in the midfield and he battled them, but we'd still express our counter-attacking game on them. I think under Mourinho, we see a different team every week. We see different centre-back partnerships, different midfield combinations, different attacking combinations. And it's part of that's because he doesn't know his best 11, but part of it is because he adapts to the opposition. That is Manchester United's identity at the moment. I don't think it's fair to say we don't have an identity because that would lean towards the fact that we're unorganised and it's just any old team will do. He adapts his team to the opposition. He did it yesterday with Chelsea, which leads me nice into... and Paul Cap 70 is right. Let's wait and see what happens when he gets the team he wants. But let's have a quick look at the tactics from yesterday. This is how we sort of lined up. De Gea in goal, Young, Lindelof, Smalling, Valencia, Matic, McTominay, Pogba, Martial, Lingard, Sanchez. And it's important, Martial was on the left a lot. He was on the right a bit, but it was very interchangeable. Pogba was on that left-hand side of the midfield. But actually, that is a very simplistic way of saying how Manchester United played, because actually what happened a lot is this, and certainly in the second half it sort of became a weird formation, a bit like that, especially in the second half. Basically you can put McTominay over Hazard and it becomes a little bit of blue, but you know what I mean. It basically became that sort of a 4-2-2 formation, because the width, I mean, Sanchez was sort of moving in and around here, Martial was hugging here, Lukaku would go central and Pogba would drop in there. But basically Pogba sat himself on Kante in this situation here and was allowed to express himself really well. Now in the first half, as we know, what happened is Matic and McTominay did not get hold of these two at all, especially Willian. It was too easy, and this is where, when we're talking about Manchester United and their improvement, for the last few weeks, it's been this area. It's the banana skin. Teams getting through our midfield and getting out our back four. And Willian was very, very, very good at it yesterday. This area was a big weakness. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. Ashley Young was a weakness yesterday. He didn't do much going forward, which is his game. And defensively, we know he's weak. And he was weak yesterday. We need to sort that left-back position out. But that left-back position is there to be sorted out. We've got Luke Shaw. I think we need to start playing Luke Shaw. So Ashley Young yesterday wasn't great, but in the first half it wasn't good anyway. We know that, look, I don't blame McTominay in the first half. I don't blame Matic in the second half. It's a mismatch. These two potentially could have been picked up by Young and Valencia, but we wanted to keep the width, so we threw them onto these two. And to be fair, Hazard attached himself to McTominay. McTominay attached himself to Hazard. And Willian sort of tried to play in between the two and was more successful. Hazard stuck too close to McTominay, or McTominay stuck too close to him, and that was his downfall in the second half. But in the first half, you've got two tall 6'4" lads against two lads who are, what, 5'5", 5'8", somewhere between there, and very fast. You saw it on the goal that Chelsea go. It was from there to there in no time. McTominay was here when Willian was here. He just totally lost him. But Matic would have lost him. I think even Pogba would have struggled to keep up with him. The issue is not the individual. The issue is Manchester United's midfield is too slow. It's too tall. It's too slow. We don't use the height in our team. I don't know why Mourinho's obsessed by height, because we don't use it. Tell me a time we've put a cross in the box and beaten the first man. We don't use our height in an offensive way at all. We use it defensively, but Chelsea was such a small team playing on the floor yesterday. Our height was an issue. Now, the key thing here is that Mourinho didn't actually have any options yesterday. He could have played Carrick. He's not as mobile as McTominay. He picked the right team. Did he pick the right tactics? I think in the first half he exposed McTominay and Matic way too much to the pace and speed of Hazard and Willian, and that was a big problem for us. They were getting the ball here and just knocking little 1-2s or just skipping past somebody and getting at our back four. What changed into the second half? Mourinho changed it around in the second half, and what he did was very simple. He made these two players just drop a little bit closer to the back four. He pushed Smalling and Lindelof further forward because Morata was just redundant. And then these players here, Pogba and Sanchez, certainly. Lukaku was doing it from the front. Martial faded in the second half, and then Lingard came on and did it as well. But let me just get back to this screen. These four players here, what they didn't do in the first half, and what they did do in the second half, which really helped Matic and McTominay, is they pressed the ball. How many times have we said Manchester United don't press the ball? They pressed the ball, and that allowed these two players, that when they did get the ball, if you saw Hazard and Willian, and I think Willian still had a good second half, but if you watch Chelsea compared to the first half and the second half yesterday, in the first half they had a lot of they got to these areas very quickly with no one really pressurising them, and then they could play the ball around and they created quite a lot, and Alonso was bombing down here, and it was very easy for them to get in and around our goal, as they did with that Morata shot that hit the bar. In the second half, when Willian and Hazard got the ball, they had to do something straight away. It was like a quick pass, and so many of their movements broke down because Willian would get it, he'd try and knock it in here, it'd be a misplaced pass because he was under pressure. Because Matic and McTominay continued to stay close to them, but the space was squeezed from the back four. But also, people like Kante, Drinkwater, Alonso, Moses were pressured by these four people, so they were having to knock the ball quickly into them. So they weren't having time to get set like they were in the first half, and we could pressure them. Basically, Mourinho got more out of those four players in the second half than he did in the first half in a defensive way. We've been quite lethargic for a while. We're not really a team that presses, but we pressed as a front four yesterday, and that stopped Chelsea and people like Azpilicueta just coming through like he was in the first half. They couldn't do it. They were deprived of the space to get at our back four, and also to get the ball to Willian and Hazard easily, so that they could get their foot. In the first half, they got the ball, they looked up, and they had it in these areas with no real pressure. Second half, they couldn't do it. Every time they got the ball in those areas in the second half, they were having to do a quick one-touch pass and try and find an impossible pass most of the time. And that was down to Mourinho at half-time and the effort of the players implementing what he wanted to do in the second half. I think as a team, we got it wrong in the first half. I think as a team, Mourinho got it wrong in the first half. We were undercooked for the first 25 minutes. But as soon as he got him in at half-time, he basically said to that front four, press. And that allowed McTominay and Matic a lot more opportunity to get at Willian and Hazard, because the ball that was coming into them was quick, and that allowed them to get at them. And that's why Matic and McTominay had such good second halves. And it just shows you as well that as a team, Manchester United, it's not, McTominay, Matic, arguably second half, first half not great, second half great. what was the difference? Was it their performances or was it the team and Mourinho? And actually, the team and Mourinho allowed McTominay and Matic to have good halves in the second half, and the team and Mourinho allowed them to have bad halves in the first half because they didn't have the support. They didn't have the pressure on the ball, the pressing. And the pressing game, when you look at Man City, when you look at Liverpool, when you look at Spurs especially, pressing teams, and we've got to do that. I mean, that's one thing, no matter what our identity is, we need to press better, because when we did it in the second half, and it wasn't vintage United in the second half, I felt it was we were the better team and we deserved to win it, but it was, I think home advantage was key in the second half. It was a tight game, we created the best chance and Lingard scored it, and I think Mourinho definitely deserves the credit there, but it wasn't as simple as Matic and McTominay suddenly put Willian and Hazard in their pocket. What we did is we deprived those two players of getting easy ball in the final third where they could get their head up, because Pogba and Sanchez and Martial and Lukaku and Lingard, when he came on, pressed and pressed and pressed. Team worked as a United team and won as the match, says Akil. Spot on, mate. Kyle Blakely says, Mark, I believe the note to Matic read something along the lines of, try and get someone sent off or get fired up as soon as he received it. He started on Rudiger. Yeah, well, it is interesting how we changed it around. And I think that's a real positive thing as well. Martial just had one of those days. It wasn't happening for him. He's been in and out of the 11, moved around of late as well. But even the best have off days, says Andrew K. Let's talk about Martial and Lingard, because that substitution, I felt it could have been Sanchez or Martial. I don't think either of them played that well, but obviously Sanchez's work ethic is ridiculous compared to most players, and I think that's why Mourinho kept him on. He had a poor game. Martial, I thought, had a really good first half. I think he faded in the second half, and I think the substitution is okay. I mean, well, it's very okay because Lingard came on and got the winner. So no, I think we've got to be very careful as a fan base at the moment that we're going from extremes, like, oh, you're either crap or you're good, and we had that with Pogba. Oh, he's crap. Oh, yesterday's brilliant. There was aspects of his game yesterday that were superb, but we need to see that week in, week out. Martial's first half was very good. Should have had 2 assists, had 1 assist. Second half he faded, and substitution was probably fair enough. But I don't think we need to be going, oh, Martial's finished, don't pick Martial anymore, because that's just naive. I think you need to open your eyes up to the first half. It's a bit like saying Jesse Lingard's been rubbish for weeks since his Messi Lingard period over Christmas. Well, he's not played as much. He's been deprived of space by people who sort of figured out his game. But yesterday, the great thing about Lingard is his movement. If you put the ball into the box like that, you're wondering how does he end up with such an easy chance. And it is an easy chance for a professional footballer. That's right on your head, 6 yards out, and the keeper's going the other way. It's an easy chance. He's got to score it, and he does it. But the brilliance of that chance is not the fact that it's an easy chance. It's the fact that how does Lingard end up with that space? And if you track the run that he makes, he's actually got a Chelsea player with him, but he sort of bends his run, he checks his run, and then he's bombing for that front post. He's a very intelligent player in that way. I was reading an article on the BBC website today saying that from an England point of view, Lingard needs to play for England in the World Cup. Now, England are nowhere near as good as Manchester United, and I think we can easily fall into the sort of trap of, should Lingard be a starter for Manchester United? It's difficult. It's difficult. I think Marcus Rashford should be part of this United team. I'm really disappointed that Rashford's not played much lately. I've got no issues with Martial. I'm a big fan of his. I think yesterday, one of the people said it on the fan cams and they were spot on. When you look at our bench yesterday, I can't even remember what Chelsea's bench was, but when you look at Manchester United's bench yesterday, it was very, very strong. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I'll tell you what concerns me more than anything, and I'll be quite honest with you. It isn't what concerns me is not, what's going to happen with Martial and Rashford and Lingard. I don't think they've been playing enough lately. I like Mata, but I'd rather swap Mata for Lingard, Rashford or Martial, because we've got that pace. And what I liked, especially the chance that Martial set up for Sanchez, was it happened a couple of times in the first half where we broke Chelsea down. We got it to Pogba quickly against Kante, and he either got it out wide or he ran at Kante, and we were pushing Chelsea back. Get it out wide to Martial. He runs up against his man, cuts inside, passes a lovely pass to Sanchez. All he's got to do is hit that on target, and for some reason he takes a touch. But if you've got Mata in that team there, that move doesn't happen because it's the speed of Pogba which you'd have with Mata, but you wouldn't have Martial and Sanchez. Lukaku's pulling people away, and it's the Sanchez-Martial dynamic with the pace that allows that to happen. Mata would not be able to get from in his own half to that play as quick as Sanchez and Martial would. That's why I like to see Lingard or Rashford or Martial play instead of Mata. Mata's a great player, I really like him, but I like, if you're going to have, I said this as well yesterday, if you're going to have McTominay and Matic in the same team, I think your front three have got to be fast, because what you don't get with McTominay and Matic is pace. You get, you know, they have their own attributes, but we're quite a static midfield, bar Pogba. So to have McTominay, Matic and Mata in the team, that makes nearly 50% of your attacking element quite slow. So if Matic and McTominay are playing, which they're going to have to for the next few weeks with Pogba, that's fine. But I think our front three needs to be fast, and that means it's got to be Rashford, it's got to be Martial, Sanchez, Lingard, two from those four. I mean, Mata will play at times, but I do want to see that pace element in there, and I think it's really important for United to do that. McToms is only a pup. He's going to get better, guys, says Red Prepper. He's 21. We should remember that. He's not 19. There was something going around last week that he's 19. He's 21. But, and I'm not going to compare him to Steven Gerrard, but I remember Steven Gerrard coming on the scene, and at 21, he was no world beater. So, McTominay, a bit like Rashford, who's 20, tall, he can fill out, he can get better. I sort of feel with McTominay, I wish he was 6'2". There's some 6'4". Like I say, height does. We don't do anything with that height. We don't do anything with that height. So I wish he was 6'2" and was just a little bit more mobile and a little less gangly. He looks a little bit gangly and a little bit slow on the ball. And I wish he was 6'2", just to have a little bit quicker. But that might come with development anyway. Lindelof. Shouting in the last minute, could be our start of our first leader in years, says Carl Place Check. Look, if people think Bailly and Lindelof can, I mean, you know what? Over the next, if you look at what United, look, we know when we look at Manchester United, we've got really good players. We do combined 11s against Liverpool in a couple of weeks. We did one against Chelsea. A lot of our players end up in there. They're just not performing in whatever system Mourinho puts out consistently. But a lot of the pieces are there. A lot of the pieces are already there. And you look at, like, if Lindelof and Bailly can be our centre-back pairing, great. I still think Rojo and Bailly's good. Jones and Smalling just have them as backups. And Smalling again yesterday, you know, he gets a lot of stick, but in a big game, he stepped up. And I never had any concerns about Morata against Smalling because, all right, he hit the bar in the first couple of minutes, but after that, he recovered. And, you know, McTominay was at fault for the goal. He had a bad first half and he recovered. Same with Matic. De Gea had a bad game. So I'm not gonna throw players under the bus when we get a result. You know, not everyone can play well every week, and Mourinho said it himself about McTominay. He's a kid. He's going to have some bad games. Going to have some good games. Fosu Mensah, yeah, I really want Fosu Mensah to come back to United. I think he's going to look really, really good. I'm going to have a quick look at this because somebody's just sent me off to have a look at something. Let's have a look. Oh, it's Matic has got 3 days off. Oh, yes, I get it. I get it. So, Nemanja Matic's latest Instagram post is holding up a bit of paper saying you've got 3 days off. Obviously, Mourinho handed him a slip of paper on the pitch yesterday. So, I'm sure that's not what it said, but a little bit of banter. MD Shupto says, you always complain about the youth of our club. They are the few. Oh, I'm not even going to finish that sentence, mate. You're a troll. Since I've been doing this 3 years, I've never shut up about the youth of our club and how great they are. So I wish I'd never read that troll comment. Apologies, everyone. The man's an idiot. Off market can play across the back four and CDM. Off market? Am I missing a code name for somebody there? Martial will perform well against Liverpool, says Marco Todorovic. Look, maybe Martial won't start against Crystal Palace and Liverpool now. I don't think we need to have a meltdown. I thought he played well in the first half and he faded in the second half, and that's what substitutions are about. I think as long as he's on the bench and as long as he's part of the squad, that's all you can ask for. And he's got to take his opportunities. And I'll put my hand up and say second half he faded a bit yesterday. Mata was not big enough for the game, says Michael Jones. He'd also played 2 games in a week. I never expected Mata to really play yesterday. Joseph Lay says Smalling had a great game yesterday. Not easy defending against an attacking team like Chelsea. String a few wins together, we might see Chong before long, says the rated review. Do you think some fans' protest unnecessary, says Pankaj. Youth is looking good, says Red Prepper. Can't wait for Liverpool, says Angad. So our next 3 games, I think people I want to answer that question from Luca. Our next 3 games for United are Crystal Palace, which is a week tonight, Liverpool on the Saturday, and then Sevilla on the Wednesday. So 3 games in just over a week, and that could be defining for our season. But then you've got Brighton, I think, at home, and it's going to be good. I mean, there's a bloody international break in March, which breaks my heart, really. But this next few days, I think, is a good period for Manchester United to get people back. That's what I was going to say. 2 things I want to say before I take a few more of your comments. My main concern about Manchester United at the moment is, and you've got a real perler here, because it's only the people who've been watching a while are going to see this bit now. I'm worried about the injuries coming back. The only player I really want back at the moment is Herrera, because McTominay's a kid and Herrera's more mobile, and I would play Herrera over him. But also, even if you want to play McTominay over Herrera, he can't play every week, because he can't. You know, this is high-end football now. He's 21, just 21, and he needs taking out a little bit of that. It's a demanding position. So I want Herrera back quicker than anybody. But what my concern about that is Fellaini will get himself back. And I'll guarantee you Fellaini would have played yesterday over McTominay. And that, for me, is a mistake. I've been uncertain about McTominay, and I still am. I'm not going to say he's going to be great. I said I think he'll end up playing at Preston North End. But I did also say I hope I'm really wrong, because he's from the youth setup and that's what we want to do well. And I hope he's going to prove me wrong. But all I'd ever said about him, I haven't really seen what he's all about yet. I think in the last couple of games we're starting to see it. And if he gets better and better, he can make it. But what I would say about him is I would pick him every day of the week over Fellaini, because he's quicker. He'll play a forward pass like he did that led to the goal for Lingard. I like his attributes way more than Fellaini's, but no word of a lie, we all know if Fellaini was fit yesterday, McTominay would be on the bench and Fellaini would have started, and we would have been a worse team for it. Imagine Fellaini trying to man-mark Hazard. No way is that happening. So I'm worried about Fellaini coming back. I'm worried about Phil Jones coming back, because I think that will mess up Lindelof, because he seems to want to play Jones with Bailly. And how many points has Jones lost us this season? And he'll get injured again. So I'm worried about Fellaini coming back, I'm worried about Jones coming back, and I'm worried about Zlatan coming back. I mean, I'm a big fan of Zlatan, but going back to what we were saying about lack of pace, as soon as you put Zlatan in a front 3, we become very slow, and that worries me, because we're quite a slow team as it is. So I want to see, I worry about those 3 players coming back, because I think they'll disrupt us. Rojo, I'd like to see him coming back soon. Herrera, I'd like to see him coming back soon as well. Luca made a point about, do I think rivalry is dead in football now, considering all the handshakes and jokes that were going on the pitch? And, you know, one thing I don't like about Lukaku is this. When he's standing talking to the opposition, like that. It's arrogant. I'm sorry, it's arrogant. I don't like it. I remember him doing it for Everton against us last year. I don't like it. We pay a lot of money to watch football. And all right, you don't want the press getting hold of what you're saying, but it's rude, like that. Don't stop talking to them for one. Do it in the bloody changing rooms. Forget it. I don't want to see you having chats with rivals, and I certainly don't want to see you covering your mouth up, because I think it becomes even more sinister. And what are you talking about that you want to cover your mouth up? So I don't like it. I think it's this big time Charlie attitude of footballers that they lose reality of their surroundings, really. You're a footballer for Manchester United, living the dream, earning a lot of money. You deserve that money because you're good footballers, but never forget the shirt that you're wearing is a Manchester United shirt. It's not the ego show, it's the Manchester United show. Focus for 90 minutes on what the game's all about. You can go out for a drink and do a bit of dancing together after the game if you're mates, but on the pitch, please, 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 just for the fans who actually fund your wages, look like you're interested in the shirt and put a bit of fight on, because we love that. As fans, we love to see a bit of rivalry. The Roy Keane thing in the tunnel with Vieira, the tackles on the pitch. That's what fans get up for, and we don't see much of it anymore because it's getting stamped out by the referees and everything like that. So I don't like that. And is rivalry dead in football? No, it shouldn't be. I think we're going through an era, where it seems to be, but it shouldn't be. And I don't want it to be. I want to see it's, very positive about Mourinho, United and the players yesterday, but you should always strive for perfection. And I didn't like the handshaking and all the hugging on the pitch or in the tunnel. All this, I don't like it. Stop it. You play for Manchester United. Focus on Manchester United and Manchester United players on the pitch. Sod it if you're mates with them, or you used to play with them, or you play for the national team with them. Forget it. I don't want to see it on the pitch. But that's probably old school for some of you. Off-market investments made me laugh. He said, kids these days, much better in my time, glass in the face, headbutt, etc. Probably a little bit too far. Carrick going and get Fellaini out. I would fill their roles with our youth, says Red Prepper. Pogba plays well when Matic plays well, says Christopher Hollett. Well, Matic is very similar to Carrick. I had somebody say to me today, oh, what you got to say about Matic now, Mark? Like there's some sort of genius. Look, I didn't want Matic, I wanted Fabinho. First month of the season, Matic was brilliant. And I said, you know what? That's a great signing by Mourinho. Last 2 months, he's been rubbish. By his standards, rubbish. Some people would say average, but by his standards, not good enough. Yesterday, brilliant again. That's the story of Matic for me. It's not about, oh, I want him to fail. Oh, he's rubbish. The reality is you tell the truth about what you see in front of you. I'm a massive Martial fan. First half yesterday was good. Second half, faded. Substitution, you can understand. McTominay. Still not convinced about what he will be, but he's getting better, and that's what you expect from youth. De Gea, best goalkeeper in the world. Yesterday, poor. We can be honest about opinions. You don't have to have agendas. That's, for me, what the United stand's all about. It's about opinion, an honest opinion, and it will change from game to game because people's performances will change from game to game. And some people will slip into a consistent vein of form. Messi, Lingard over Christmas, or Rashford last 3 months below average, Doesn't mean we dislike the players, but you can be honest about what form they're in. Ridge Rego says Matic probably the most underrated player this season for us. No, I don't think so. I think 50% of this season he's been below what he should be doing. But when he plays like he did yesterday, everybody will play well because it's a bit like Carrick. When Carrick plays well, United plays well. Anyway, we could talk for hours. We are back at 8 o'clock tonight, remember. It's the Skype show tonight. So 8 o'clock tonight, you can Skype in and have your say. I've thrown the gauntlet down for somebody to come on and have a go at me about Martial. So if you want to do that, take a bite. But thanks everyone for watching. Please do drop a like on the video. Let's... I'm quite enjoying doing this show. I'm quite enjoying doing this show on a Monday where we can do sort of a bit of a tactical analysis of what's going on. And I hope you liked the introduction of the tweets at the start. I think we're going to do that more and more. I quite like that, and I think it's a good idea. So thanks everybody for watching and joining us this Monday lunchtime. We will be back at 8 o'clock tonight, and we will be back at lunchtime tomorrow, 1 o'clock, with Red Rumours. So we're starting to do more and more 1 o'clock shows because my lunch break allows it, which is nice. So 1 o'clock tomorrow for Red Rumours, but it's all about 8 o'clock tonight. It's your show, it's the Skype show. And like I say, drop a like, keep subscribing. We're getting closer and closer to 200,000 subscribers, so just keep telling everybody about the United Stand. I want to get it done. Let's get past it. It's going to drag. Let's get past it and keep going. Thanks everyone. Speak to you all soon, and I'm glad everybody loved the tweet section, so that's great. So nice to see the likes going up for that. We're always, if you've ever got any good ideas for us, let us know in the live comments. And that reminds me as well, for those people who've hung around, we are trying to do more on Instagram. I did a Q&A a couple of weeks ago. Flex is doing it at the ground and stuff. But I'm always been a Twitter and a YouTuber. I'm not really an Instagrammer. So what sort of stuff should we be putting up on Instagram? Is it just images or clips or whatever? So let us know about that. And we also started today, totally exclusive, and if you've hung around, well done. Exclusive today, the link is in the video description somewhere for our Facebook page. We've started putting up a Facebook United Stand latest that only will go up on Facebook, and it will probably go up between the hours of about 12 and midday. That's the same thing. Between 10 in the morning and midday it's going to go up. It goes up live, but it's sort of a pre-record live, if that makes sense. But it's exclusive to Facebook, so you'll only ever see it on there. We're talking about Milankovic-Savic, the £70 million offer, Icardi, and Scholes saying we need a new striker. So it's exclusive content on Facebook. So if you are on Facebook, link in the video description. Go and give that a watch. But we're back at 8. Thanks, everybody. Speak to you all soon. And moderators, please feel free to block anybody who says STFU. You know, they can shorten it, but I know exactly what it means.